Hello, welcome to Have a Tea with me. My name is Chris. This is the Lesson Jigsaw channel. We hope you're having a great day. We are here for English language practice. If you would like to, if you're learning English or you want to practice your English speaking or conversation skills, this is the place for you. All you need to do is in the comments, in the chat section, you'll see a link. Just click on that link, obviously while we're live, and you can come through to the studio and we can have a chat about whatever you prefer to have a chat about. Simple as that. So we welcome your participation. We're here for you. And if you're not here, and you're watching the replay, you're thinking, oh, I want to participate, but I can't because I'm not there at the time that you're on, because we're on at Monday to Friday at 12 o'clock Universal Time. If that time's not good for you, you can always send us an email. chatonlessonjigsaw@gmail.com is our email address. There you go. It's our email address. You send us an email and let us know what, like whereabouts you are, and what days and what times are better for you in your time zone. Like tell us the time zone, of course, as well, and what you'd like to talk about. And we can see if we can arrange a time that is good for both of us to do a live stream and conversation class. So you'll see that email address scrolling across the bottom of the screen throughout the program. But just to repeat, chatonlessonjigsaw@gmail.com. If you are watching the replay and you're thinking, I want to participate, but I can't at the time that you're there. And that's pretty much it. We can talk about anything, really. We just want to make sure we're, respectful, like in a normal conversation. We always want to be respectful and that sort of thing. So that's the general aim. But we want to try and make you feel more comfortable and confident using English. It's not about getting everything perfect in terms of like grammar and that sort of thing. If that happens, that's great, but that's not the primary purpose. What we want to do is to make you feel, like I said, comfortable and confident using English, speaking English, having conversations in English. It's a really important point to remember that all of the information, all of the vocabulary and everything you get from reading, doing different exercises and activities are all great. Maybe you're watching different TV shows or movies, reading books, looking at the newspapers, watching the news, all different sorts of things to get English vocabulary and practice, comprehension and that sort of thing, practice your listening skills. But it's difficult to control the way that other people talk. It can be very difficult to understand some things for anyone, depending on how the person speaks and where they are. But you do have control over what you say and what you write. And so that's why it's really, really important that whenever you have vocabulary that you know or you want to use, that you actively try and use it. That means using it in speaking and writing activities. And primarily here, we're looking to practice your speaking skills, conversational skills. So like I say, if you want to just practice general sort of chit chat, just having a conversation about whatever's topical at the moment, if you want to talk about the news or if you want to talk about a memory or a holiday or what's happening in life, or I don't know what sort of bread you like to eat, or whatever you would like to talk about, we can talk about that. Or if you want to practice a particular situation, maybe you see a lot of people or you meet some people, and the way that you need to interact with them is through English, using English. And you want to practice different situations for that. And indeed, we can do that as well. Just let us know. Tell us what you'd like to practice. But we do want to practice speaking and conversational skills with that, whichever way you want to communicate. I guess the other thing is to do it regularly. Consistency is very, very important. It's very important. Okay, so as I say, this program is 12 o'clock Universal Time, Monday to Friday. Have a Tea with Me is the name of the program. Lesson Jigsaw is the channel. We hope you're having a good day. Hope you're able to stay safe and healthy. So it is Thursday. It is the 10th of March, I believe. When this broadcast is going out, when we're doing this live, it's the 10th of March. Most places in the world at the moment is the 10th of March. Not everywhere. Some places it's already clicked over to Friday, but anyway, in general, it's the 10th of March. So I do actually have a tea with me just to prove that it is a tea. Now, some days I will not have a tea because I don't know. Well, I guess when it's a hot day, I can have an iced tea or like a cold tea. That's always possible. But I guess it depends on what's available and where I am on that particular day. Now, in terms of conversation, now when I'm here by myself, we can talk of things off the top of my head, so to speak. I'm just going to put that up a little bit. So that's not a real background. That's just a picture. But I like that sort of rainy feel of a day. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes. What was I going to say? Okay, so we often need to think about what to talk about. And one of the ways to get an idea about what to talk about and what to consider talking about is to use some type of stimulus. And normally, even in a normal situation, as if this isn't normal, but in a normal situation, we may be sitting in a cafe or on a bench on the street, and we're just watching people go by, people watching. And we just maybe speak to a friend or something, or talking on the phone to someone, talking about what we see or what's happening, gossiping perhaps, about what we see, maybe what the person is wearing, what they're doing, the way they're behaving perhaps in a certain situation. So we can talk about those sorts of things normally, but we have that stimulus of what we can see. It could also be like from a photo, something like maybe from a newspaper or a painting, something like that. Could also be text, could be like from a book or a newspaper, a report or something. Certainly in a work or business sort of context, we might often have a report or some type of letter that is the basis for a conversation, or that part of a conversation. There could be different levels, and you move through different parts of the conversation. You move on, you get things done. But yeah, so basically we have different sort of stimulus, and when we talk about these things, I guess we think about these question words, and you'll hear me repeating this sort of stuff a lot. But you think about the question words, so who, what, when, where, why, how, and any other sort of question you may want to think about to get the idea of not necessarily asking a question, although that's of course very common, but to think about what information to give. So when you see a letter, it could be like, who wrote the letter? What's the letter about? When was the letter written? When is a response required? Is a response required? How do we deal with this letter? You know, where is the letter from? You know, or where did the letter come in? Because maybe it came in and we don't have enough time to deal with it, or we're late, perhaps. And why? Why are we late? Why is the person asking this question? Why is there this problem? How do we deal with that problem, whatever it may be? So those sort of things you can think about. So if it's a letter, or indeed if it's something like a photo. So let's have a look at this photo as our stimulus for today. And let's think of those question words again. Let's start with where. So where was this photo taken? I have no idea, but it looks as though maybe they're on a bridge of some sort, because on the left it looks like it's like a railing or something you might see on a bridge. Perhaps, maybe not. That could also just be stairs. You know, it could be stairs going down. But where they are, they look like they're in a city or town of some sort. And of course, there's a guy at the front holding like a flag of some description. So that makes me think it could be a type of group, maybe like a tour group. Maybe they're exploring the city or something like that. And this person at the front is a guide showing them around. Maybe it's one of those free walking tours that you have in a lot of cities these days. So you have you go up at a certain point, they've got the different people with different languages, and they go doing the free walking tour for different lengths of time, maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours even maybe. And then at the end, you can just say thank you, or you can give a donation, like a little thank you or something like that for the person who guided you or answered questions and that sort of thing, depending on how useful, I guess, it was for them, or how you felt. I guess a lot of that sort of thing is how you feel with that interaction. So it's one of those things. I guess you can walk away if you weren't happy. But then again, I guess if it goes for 3 hours and you're there for the whole 3 hours and you weren't happy, you probably have to ask yourself the question, why did I stay the full 3 hours? After like 2.5 hours, were you thinking that last half hour was just gonna be particular magic and just change the situation perhaps? Anyway, and that's the normal conversation, just so the flow just goes around with different thoughts and ideas. Let me check if this tea is... Yeah, it's borderline. It's right on the edge. It's borderline okay in terms of temperature. The flavor is good. It's probably my favorite flavor at the moment for a tea, maca. It's the flavor, M-A-C-A, maca. Okay, so it's a tour group, and I think to back that up, if we look behind the guy with in his right hand, he's holding the flag, and sort of behind his arm, you can see another guy, and he looks to be holding in his hands, it looks to be a map. It might not be, but it looks very, very close to a map for me. There's an interesting variety of people here. It looks like it could be morning, certainly with what looks like to be that light of the sun in the background. Looks to be very, very sunny in that background there. So it could be early in the morning. Just because of the color, I don't think it's sunset, but I'm not sure. I'm not an expert. But To me, if I saw that, the immediate reaction would be sunrise rather than sunset. Just get that down. My immediate reaction or thought would be that it is sunrise rather than sunset. I don't know what you think. You tell me. You tell me if you think that's wrong. But I think it's closer to sunrise. So in the morning. I assume it's always in the morning. I don't know if they're like in different parts of the world, if it's possible to have a sunrise in the afternoon. And then I guess it would set pretty quickly as well. Like there wouldn't be many hours of daylight, but I'm not sure. But generally in the morning, without getting too tricky. There are lots of different people. Interesting group. Because the guy on the left, I assume he's with the group, maybe not. It's hard to tell if because sometimes with the tour groups, they put the sticker on. They get you to put a sticker on or maybe wear a wristband to identify who's with the group. Let me get that there. Sometimes you get a wristband to identify who is part of the group. Although that may be more for the paid tours, not the free tours. Because I guess with the free tour, you can sort of hop in and out whenever you want. And with the paid tour, I guess maybe sometimes they go into places. And so when you go in, instead of having to pay the admission, again, you just show your wristband. So instead of having to pay admission, so pay to get in or pay the entrance fee, instead of having to pay admission, you just show, let's say flash. Why not? A bit more exciting. Flash your wristband or sticker or whatever it may be. So instead of having to pay admission, you just show or flash. Flash is like for a second, you show it for a second, your wristband or sticker to the attendant or whoever is there. And then you can enter. But yeah, like I said, that's probably more for paid ones because none of them look like they have any sort of wristband or ID that makes me think they're part of like a paid group or something. The guy on the left is wearing a coat, so it still seems pretty chilly. Well, everyone's wearing something warm pretty much. The guy on the left seems to be wearing a turtleneck, I think it is, and a coat. The guy next to him is wearing a hoodie. I guess that's like a maroon, closer to maroon, I think, is that color. Hoodie. The guide is wearing a hoodie as well, but a grey one. The guy to his left, but behind him, is wearing, it looks to be, I'm going to guess it's a flannelette type shirt, similar to the guy on the right as well, on the far right. So they're both wearing flannelette shirts and a t-shirt underneath. So they're double layered. So even though that the first guy, the guy second from the right, he's not wearing a jacket or a coat, he does seem to have his jacket, I'm going to guess, a leather jacket maybe. He's holding that in his left hand, or over his left arm. And then the guy next to him, of course, is wearing the jacket. Most of them, I can't tell with the guy with the maroon hoodie, but most, or two of them at least, are wearing or got day packs. So maybe they need some refreshments or something, or got like an apple and a banana and some water, something like that, to replenish them, as the tour goes on. Who knows what type of tour it is? Maybe it's one of those tours where they see just different sort of monuments outside. Maybe it's a tour where they go into museums and that sort of thing. And depending on the city or town, maybe you have to pay for the museums or maybe not. I know in some places that they have a lot of the museums and galleries and that sort of thing are free, or certain parts are for free. And they have other sections where you need to pay an entrance fee. So who knows? Interesting. The guy's got the map. I wonder how many people still use maps these days. Those the tourist maps you used to get when you go to a different city or a city you've never been before. I imagine most people these days just use their phones, depending on what phone you have. I guess maybe it could well be the person doesn't have data, doesn't have like a connection. Perhaps they only have Wi-Fi. Maybe they're staying at a hostel or a hotel or something, and they get the Wi-Fi in the in the room, but not when they're walking around the street, so they can't use. Although, of course, some of the apps you can download the guide and the map. I think it's like with Google Maps. I think you can do that, can't you? You can select an area, and you draw a little square or something of the area, and it can download that map. So even if you're offline, you can still have that map and those details in that map, and it saves that on the phone. Of course, depending on how much memory you have in the phone as well. Anyway, but I guess it's always good to have a paper copy, just in case. Okay, so it could be a bit chilly in the morning, but not too chilly, I would say. None of them are wearing, if it was that chilly, some of them might be wearing like a beanie or a head covering of some sort, or a bandana, or something like that, or a scarf. So maybe it's mild in terms of temperature, but cool, but not too cold. You know what I mean? It's cool, but not too cold. Get that down. So maybe it's cool, but not too cold. Maybe. Who knows? It's all speculation. So yeah. Yeah, I wonder, and because we're saying so they could be seeing the monuments of the city. It could be doing a food tour, so they're going to go and taste different artisan products, or going to different markets in the town or the city, something like that, or maybe going to different or other types of markets, maybe markets where they have they're selling prepared food, or markets where they're selling the ingredients, so getting your normal sort of fruit and veg and that sort of stuff. Maybe it's a market where they can buy clothes and that sort of stuff, or they have handmade items. Maybe there could be some souvenirs, so a bit of something to remember the city by. Or maybe the city is famous for a particular type of thing, maybe the type of dish or a type of tile, type of decoration, or maybe there's like a particular gem that they do when they make different sort of rings or necklaces or something with that. Maybe it's they do big or have types of like pottery or something, or maybe there's a type of knitting or with a type of fabric that's very common in that area or grown in that local area. Could be lots of different things, And I guess there's also, just looking at this a little bit closer, we see the tour guide. So there's two reasons why he could be the tour guide. Is obviously the main one is that he's holding that flag for people to follow. And he's also wearing the lanyard. Let's get that down. He's also got the lanyard around his neck, like around his neck. So you'll see it's a where are we? Here. So it's a blue lanyard, and then you got the white card. I guess like a business card or some type of identification, that sort of thing. So I guess that's for the people, the customers, to know this is the guy to follow. He's authorized, perhaps. Maybe he's in one of those. Maybe in this country or in this city, any tour guide needs to be registered and have a license to do that. Could be. That's not unheard of. I like that. I like that expression. That's not unheard of. That's not unheard of. It happens. That's the idea, yeah? So this thing happens. Sometimes something may sound ridiculous or strange. You go, that's not unheard of. You know, some people can do that. It's like maybe like if you're talking about like a football match, and there's like 1 minute to go, and the team is 1-0 down. You're thinking, oh, okay, we can still win. It's not unheard of. It has happened where a team scores and goes back to halfway and score again, something like that. So it's not unheard of. It happens, maybe rarely, but it's possible. So maybe it's a place where they need to license, or any tour guides need to be licensed and that sort of thing, which could be for particular reasons, or it could just be a money spinner. Let's say, get that in. It could just be a money spinner. Let's be a spinner for the local government, the council, or whatever. Perhaps a money spinner, just a way of generating revenue, a way or a means of creating revenue, so income for the council or local government or whatever it is. So they like to do that. I guess sometimes you need to register or whatever, and so maybe they just go, oh, look, it costs $5 or $10 or a lot more perhaps. You just got to do that. You got to register to do that, and it's a nothing sort of thing, but it's a nice bit of money to earn, but maybe not, or maybe. So okay. It also appears that this is one of those sort of groups where everyone has to huddle in. You have to huddle in together, come close together. So the group needs to huddle in to get the information or the details that the person is describing. Because sometimes you might see the tour groups where they where the tour guide has a microphone. So they have a microphone, and then they the other people have an earpiece so they can hear. So you can be like 10, 20 meters away and you can still hear whatever the person is saying. So you got a bit more space around you. But the old-fashioned way, of course, is just to get everyone, come around, come here. Okay, let me tell you about this particular statue. And everyone, comes in close together. But maybe with these, in the social distancing ways that we have nowadays, maybe there'll be more microphones and ear sets. Maybe not. I wonder if, because I know maybe that's a bit too expensive though. I do remember at the old drive-in cinemas. Do you remember drive-in cinemas? Do they still have drive-in cinemas? Do they have them where you are? Do you remember the old drive-in cinemas? So here we can add the old, just sort of to emphasize, I guess, that it's, something that was more common in the past. You don't see it too much these days. So it's highlighting that. I mean, you could take it, you could say, do you remember drive-in cinemas? And that's still implying that, but it's really emphasizing that they're not perhaps as common as they were before. So drive-in cinemas, where you drive in your car, I think you park near a speaker and you hear the speaker, like you wind down the window. Remember that, we used to manually wind, not wind, the verb, to wind down the window to hear the speakers for the movie. So then you wind down the window, you hear the movie. But I do remember other drive-ins where you would tune in the radio. You would tune in the radio to a specific, station, I guess. It's not really a radio station, but a specific number to hear the movie. And in that case, you'll probably wind up the windows, have the windows up, and then you have maybe like incredible stereo sound in your car as you're watching the movie. But I do remember that, and so I wonder if they could do the same thing with these. Maybe they do already, and I'm just not aware of it. But they have like a channel. I guess that's like with walkie-talkies and that sort of stuff, isn't it? Or CB radio, I guess, isn't it? They have like a particular channel that they hook up to. So maybe they could have something like that. So where they have a channel or a frequency that they match the microphone and the speakers to, and they listen like that, perhaps. Or you can plug in your own headset, so you don't need to use other people's, or so then they need to clean them and that sort of thing. So you could just bring your own and have like your earbuds or headphones or whatever, and you can plug it in, get a radio app, and listen to the radio station that they specify, and that is transmitting the tour. Maybe I'm inventing all this. I don't know. I don't know. But it's a possibility. It's a possibility. I have to say, I do like those hoodies where they have the pockets in the front. I guess that's most hoodies anyway, isn't it? But I have seen some sports jackets and stuff like that where they don't have pockets in the front. And always like, where do you put your hands? Because it's nice, particularly if it's cooler. You want a place to put your hands. Okie dokie. Well, Okay, so it has been and is Thursday, the 10th of March. Thank you very much for joining us. I think I'm going to head off. I hope you've enjoyed watching and getting some of the vocabulary. Remember, it's a great thing to hear the vocabulary, see it, all that sort of stuff, to even to make notes and that sort of thing. But you've got to use it. You've got to use it. It's sort of, well, not meaningless, because you can still use it for comprehension in other things, but to maximize the use of the vocabulary, to maximize the vocabulary, and to maximize what you can do, what you really can do in English. Get that vocabulary or get those structures and speak, trying to use them. See if, like, when it's appropriate to use them, try and slip it in, so to speak. And the same thing like when you're writing, because sometimes maybe some things it's more common to speak rather than write, or if you write it, it's in a very casual way, and that's just picking things up, and it's just a different impression that can be given. That's like when you have some banks, they write, when they send an email, they write in a more casual way rather than the old style of being formal for everything, just so they seem a bit more relaxed for the customers and easier to deal with, and that sort of thing. Okay. So anyway, so the point is just to practice. Please try and practice. Okay, so just a reminder, this is Lesson Jigsaw is the channel. Have a Tea with Me is this particular program. It's an open session for live English conversation and speaking practice, 12 o'clock Universal Time, Monday to Friday. We welcome you to join us. Don't forget to like and follow and all that sort of stuff. Subscribe, I guess, is the other one. And we hope to hear from you sometime in the future and hear from you literally. So I'm hearing and we're in a conversation, we're speaking, because we want to practice those speaking skills. So wherever you are, I hope you're keeping safe, staying happy, and able to practice your English and feeling more comfortable with English. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us, for listening and participating. Don't forget to write any comments and ideas you have in the comments, and let us know, or send us an email like we mentioned before. All right, so that's it for me. Have a great rest of the day. See you next time. Bye.